It's an honor to be here this morning. Very excited to be here and to announce something that I think is very important to our state. And in just a few minutes, we will have some other speakers. Speaking after me will be Commissioner Jeff Dunn. After him will be Speaker Mike Hubbard. After him will be President Pro Tem Dale Marsh. And then Representative Steve Klaus and Senator Tripp Pittman. 3 weeks ago, I actually stood right here in this very room and announced to the people of our state my vision to move Alabama forward. One of the priorities that I addressed in the state of the state was the Alabama prison system. For decades, the Alabama prisons have become increasingly overcrowded. They've become dangerous to both inmates and our corrections officers, and they've become incredibly costly to the taxpayers of this state. When I hired Corrections Commissioner Jeff Dunn, I asked him to think of and work in ways that we could find solutions different from what we've done in the past. And he has done that. He and I met in the fall of 2015 and started to work on a plan to drastically change the way the Department of Corrections operates. Today, we have a plan for a complete transformation of our state's prison system. The Alabama Prison Transformation Act will provide for the construction of 4 modern regional prison facilities and permanently close the doors to decades-old prisons where maintenance costs have skyrocketed and increased staff are needed. And by building a brand new female prison facility, we will permanently slam the door shut on Tutwiler Prison for women. The purpose of this legislation is fourfold. Number 1 is to reduce overcrowding. Number 2 is to improve safety and conditions for inmates and correctional officers. Number 3, it's to allow for the additional inmate reentry programs. And number 4, it's to improve the operational practices and procedures. The legislation allows for the issuance of up to $800 million in bonds for up to 30 years by the Alabama Corrections Institutions Finance Authority. The debt service on these bonds will be paid for by savings from within the Department of Corrections. And that's what makes this plan so unique. This innovative concept will not only provide more secure and safer prisons, it will also ensure the safety of our citizens and corrections officers. Alabama's prison system will go from being an outdated, inefficient, overcrowded system to being the best. And Alabama will become the model for the rest of the nation. The legislation will be introduced this week, and it's sponsored by State Representative Steve Klaus and by Senator Tripp Pittman. And I appreciate so much their partnership with us on this issue, and I look forward to signing the legislation as soon as it passes the Alabama legislature. We've made significant progress over the last year to improve our criminal justice system, and we're trying to ease some of the challenges in our prison system and to maximize the amount of state dollars that we spend for the Alabama Department of Corrections. This, in part, is because of the leadership of House Speaker Mike Hubbard and Senate Pro Tem Dale Marsh. And I appreciate them joining me here today, and I appreciate their partnership in trying to resolve the issues in our prison system. I was in Washington yesterday, and I had the privilege of meeting with the Attorney General Lynch. She had asked to meet with 4 governors, and I was one of the 4 governors that she wished to ask for, because actually the federal system is looking at states for new ideas. You know, the federal prison system needs help also. And so they're looking at states for ideas, and they have been very excited about hearing about what we're doing here in Alabama, and they wanted to hear about it yesterday. So I talked with him about that as we met. Before I close also, I would like to thank two other legislators that are here with us today that worked so hard last year on helping to pass our Prison Reform Act. Senator Cam Ward, thank you for what you've done. Representative Mike Jones, thank you for what you've done. We have a good plan to move forward, and I expect construction on these facilities to begin in the fall of 27 and be completed in 3 years. And I think that this is something that I can look back on. I think that's something that our legislators can look back on with pride in solving a major problem that has faced our state for decades, and just no one has been willing to tackle it. And I just appreciate their partnership working with us on this issue, and I believe that we will be able to look back and see a great accomplishment for this great state of Alabama. So now I'd like to call on Commissioner Jeff Dunn, and I appreciate so much him coming in with fresh ideas, and it's just, that's what we need to do in government. It's just a breath of fresh air to have people come in with ideas like this, and I want to thank him for all he's doing. So Jeff, come on up. There you go.
Well, Governor Bentley, sir, thank you for your remarks and, more importantly, for your staunch support to the department and for leading our state in this initiative. I really do think that this is a transformative moment in our history, and I just thank you for the support that you've given us. Senator Marsh, Senator Pittman, Senator Ward, Representative Hubbard, Representative Klaus, Representative Jones, and other members of the legislature who may be here, I want to thank you for being here and your collective effort in crafting this important legislation, particularly at this moment in time. As you know, the Department of Corrections is responsible for contributing to the public safety of the state by ensuring that our state's offenders serve their sentences in a secure, safe, and humane environment while we attempt to deliver effective and efficient rehabilitation and reintegration services that ultimately will enable them to re-enter society so that they can contribute to the social and economic well-being of our state. The prison transformation legislation will enable the Department of Corrections to close 14 existing major facilities and consolidate those operations into 4 new facilities. This legislation will lead to a viable prison build program in Alabama that will feature, as the governor mentioned, 3 regional prisons with the capacity to house 4,000 male offenders each, and 1 new female prison with the capacity to house 1,200 female offenders, and close the doors on Tutwiler. The increased facility design capacity, coupled with the hard work and the efforts made in Senate Bill 67 that passed in the 2015 legislative session, will result in the reduction of our prison crowding rate from what it is today at approximately 180% to 125% over the next 5 years. These new operationally efficient prisons will operate at security staffing levels that will enable us to take our current security staff and man the new facilities and bring our staffing rates up to almost 95 to, in some places, 100%. While at the same time enabling us to reinvest resources in rehabilitation and reentry. In addition to some of these security staffing efficiencies, the large-scale regional facilities will allow the department to consolidate support and medical staff for on-site medical care that will reduce the department's security and transportation costs. And redesigning the entire prison system will allow the department to balance resources towards offender rehabilitation and reentry that have unfortunately had to take a back seat to security issues in recent years. These state-of-the-art facilities will deliver a host of evidence-based rehabilitation and reentry programs such as substance abuse treatment, counseling, education, vocational training, and prison industry and work release opportunities that will prepare these offenders to transition successfully back into the community upon release. I consider the proposed prison transformation legislation a continuation of the governor's criminal justice reinvestment initiative that he began several years ago. The reform measures that are already in place, together with the proposed transformation legislation, will enable the Department of Corrections to operate more effectively and efficiently in a safer, more secure environment while expanding evidence-based rehabilitation and reentry, leading to safer communities and a safer Alabama. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Governor, and also Commissioner Dunn. Both of these gentlemen used the words transformation and reform. And I think that's been a common refrain over what we have been able to accomplish together with the legislative leadership and with the governor of this administration over the last 5 years. And this is a continuation of that. It's no secret that the prisons have continued to grow and to be an increased burden on the general fund year after year. And I think that it's so refreshing now that Commissioner Dunn, actually I'll call him Colonel. I said if I was a colonel, I'd make everybody call me Colonel. He has come up with an idea and a plan that truly does transform what we're doing in the prison system. If we keep doing the same thing over and over, we're not going to get a different outcome. And I think this is forward thinking. It is very bold. I think it's going to make the state of Alabama a model for other states to look to in the way that we handle it. I know when Colonel Dunn came and he outlined the program for me, I waited for the last thing, and okay, what's the price tag on this? And the way he has it organized and planned is that we can maintain this with the current level of appropriations, and I know that is music to the ears of Chairman Klaus and Chairman Pittman. But I think over time this is going to reduce the burden of the increases that it's having on the general fund. Plus, it is just smart on crime. It's a way that we don't just house prisoners and keep them locked up. We're actually rehabilitating them, and also a safety issue for our corrections officers. Last year, as the governor mentioned, we had Chairman Ward, Chairman Jones, who had worked exhaustively on our prison reform package. We actually had worked with the Council of State Governments, President Pro Tem Marsh and I, and the governor signed an agreement with them. They came in and made recommendations, and that was not an easy lift. And it had a price tag, but the legislature, we made the commitment to that, and it is working. And I believe that this, coupled with the prison reform that we have, truly shows that we are the reformers, that we are transforming state government, and it's going to make Alabama a better state and a smarter state in the way that we operate our state government. I am 100% in support of this legislation. I know that these gentlemen will do a great job of carrying their process, and of course our job through the legislature is to make sure that the finances work and that we have that have it figured to where it's not a burden on the taxpayers, and I believe that this legislation does just that. So today is a great day. I look forward to the plan moving forward and proud to be a part of it. At this time, I'd like to introduce my friend and colleague. As important as it is for the executive and legislative branches to work together, it's for the House and the Senate to work together, and fortunate that we have a great working relationship with the upper chamber. This time I'd like to introduce President Pro Tem Dale Marsh.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I tell you, I appreciate the governor to continue to lead in making Alabama a better place through these bold initiatives. I thank he and the commissioner today for this specific initiative that I think is going to be good for the state of Alabama and what the taxpayer of our state expects. I just want the governor to know, as pro tem of the Senate, I will do all of my power to expedite this legislation and get it passed as quickly as possible so we can start construction of an efficient prison system and find a way to bring these people who can be rehabilitated to being taxpayers to the state of Alabama. Thank you.
As Senator Pittman and myself continue to put a pencil to the general fund budget, I think it continues to be obvious that the two main cost drivers of the general fund are Medicaid and the prison system. And of course, over the last 30 years or so, we've seen prison funding pushed to the background to the detriment of our prison facilities. And of course, it's beginning to show that, and has been showing the wear and tear on these buildings for some time now. So this is a continuation of the efficiencies I think you've seen this legislature enact over the last 5 years, and I look forward to being part of this process to improving the prison system with this legislation. Thank you.
Ditto to what Representative Klaus said in terms of the fiscal notes and the challenges we face in the general fund. I think this is leadership by the governor and having the right commissioner in place with Commissioner Dunn and his previous experiences to be able to bring something not only forward, but to have the confidence that he'll be able to implement this successfully. This goes along with the prison reform last year that Senator Ward and Representative Jones passed. We need to have not only those resources, but also the extra capacity that we know we needed, combined with the prison reform and some of the educational and rehabilitative efforts that we're trying. It all dovetails together to hopefully end up with not only saving money, but getting a better result from those that do decide to break the law. I look forward to working with my colleagues, Senator Marsh and Speaker Hubbard and Representative Klaus and the rest of the members of the legislature as we take this through the process to verify all the numbers, to address any concerns, and make sure that this is not only proposed but actually passed and implemented. Thank you very much.